Hey guys and girls, just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Buzzsprout. Start a podcast today with free podcast hosting for Buzzsprout, easy podcasting software for hosting, promoting, and tracking your podcast. Buzzsprout is the best way to publish a podcast online for secure and reliable hosting to full iTunes support. Get started for free, no credit card required, cancel at any time.
Stats are for losers.
That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is.
You play to win the game.
Welcome to the Area Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Airing It Out podcast. I am Dustin Marion, your host as always. Today, my guest is Jimmy, a professional sports handicapper in Vegas. Welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me.
No, for sure, man. Thanks for coming on. So you were just telling me a little bit. They started to open up stuff slowly over there. You think by, you were saying by May, things might be back to normal a little bit. So that means what? The strip will be open 7 days a week instead of 4 or 5?
Yeah, they opened the pools. All the MGM pools opened this last Saturday. So that's a good sign. And, you know, obviously as more people get vaccinated, it's going to loosen up a little bit more and more. But yeah, I would say by the end of May, we should be pretty much be back to where we should be, I think.
You know, I was telling you also that I find it interesting about relocating because I don't know what's happening in California. Do you think it's a good place to soak some roots in Vegas? Because a lot of people keep yelling about Texas. What do you think about opportunity in Vegas? I
like it. I mean, Texas. The only place I would live in Texas is Austin, honestly. But it's hot, man. I mean,
in both places,
it's
right?
90 with, yeah, but it's like, you know, it's 90 with 70% humidity. I mean, it's serious heat down there. So it just depends. But yeah, I like Vegas. I mean, the nice thing about Vegas is if you want to go do something on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason, there's something going on. You know what I mean? There's always something going on. So for me, that fits. That's not for everybody, but for me, that fits.
Yeah, no. Being a New Yorker and having the access to Manhattan, that's what I liked. I thought it was kind of cool, you know, that there was always something going on. You can go somewhere, you can hang out, you can get a drink, you can chill. It really doesn't close. I don't know about getting the meals because you do guys close your restaurants around like midnight, right? Or it just depends.
I mean, the bars are open 24 hours a day. And a lot of bars will serve food 24 hours a day and surprisingly pretty good food. So, I mean, yeah, if you're in a hotel, they're probably going to close down. You know, they might have one place open, but if you're a local, you can always find something to eat. That's not a problem.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, like I said, man, I really digged it. I liked it a lot. The lights were great. The strip was awesome. You was an amazing host. So thanks so much for showing us around.
You kind of had a 48-hour run there, though. You know,
that, bro?
I couldn't hang with you,
bro. We were hurting. We were hurting, bro. That last little bit, like the little bit to the plane, was what killed us the most. I mean, you know, my missus, she had the bright idea. That wasn't my idea, bro.
Hey, there's been many a times that I visited Vegas years ago, and you just see people on a Sunday in the airport just beaten up, you know, hooked up to IVs and oxygen and just eaten up. Because people come here for a weekend, right? They blow a gasket, you know what I mean? And then they come, you know, a year later. You know, they come once or twice a year and they go all out. So
yeah, thank God.
Once you live here,
I went slow, and then, you know, my counterpart tried to fucking, she hits $500 at a slot machine and forget about it. She went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, you guys did it all. Good for you guys.
Yeah, no, it was great. The only thing I didn't do, go ahead, finish. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say next time I'll take a nap before we go out.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm getting there too, bro. I think I took a couple naps. That's the only reason why I was able to go so hard. What I was gonna say was that the next time I do go, I want to check out the strip club scene because I mean, you guys, you know, gambling, sick restaurants, and then supposedly like the end all be all of strip clubs are down there too, right? Or is that a urban legend?
Yeah, they're starting to open back up as well. Yeah, I mean, it's per capita. I'm assuming it's probably the most strip clubs you can possibly be in. I mean, there's probably 20 of them within 2 miles of each other. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. They'll be happy to take your money, no problem.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna give them all the money. I just want to see, the skills, the pole skills, the backflips, all that stuff on 9-inch stilettos.
That stuff costs money, buddy. You know how that is. That stuff costs money.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm past that phase. I mean, being so close to in San Diego, man, you could just go down to Mexico and it's half the price, and you get a better show.
Yeah, I hear you. I stay away from Mexico. No bueno.
No kidding, bro. I'm a little nervous now too with all this COVID stuff, and if you go down there and you get a false positive, you'll be stuck, and you don't want all of that.
Yeah, could be a different positive, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, no kidding. So I was trying to get you on the show, but it's been so crazy. I've been traveling a lot. You've been busy handicapping, I'm sure, a whole bunch of games. And like I said, I'm really excited that we got you on to pick your brain and really try to understand the whole scene of handicapping. But what were your thoughts? We'll start slow. What were your thoughts on Brady winning again?
I thought it was great to see. I mean, you always want, I guess he was considered an underdog for that game a little bit. I mean, it was only a 3-point spread, but I mean, the guy's 80 years old. You know what I mean? He's still back there throwing the rock around. I mean, good for him. I mean, will we see it again? Probably not, but I was happy for him. And I think money wise, it was pretty even across the board. I think when everybody saw that, they figured out, it's in Tampa and it's the first time ever, that the same team is playing in their stadium. And I think that kind of evened out the money everywhere else, because a lot of people, I mean, looking at the Chiefs all year, they're pretty tough to beat. So
let me ask you, when it comes to these guys, like adding that half a point, for example, right? Like that would have seemed like a game that I would have added the half to that to kind of hedge the other way. Mm-hmm. Do you see that was the trend, or did it stay 3 throughout most of the week?
I think it opened up, as I recall, 3.5, and then the Tampa people, bought 3. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but that's about right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's crazy though. I mean, I don't know. I feel that Tom still has a little bit left in the tank to maybe do it again, but to have a Super Bowl in the home, I mean, this guy has almost every accolade you could imagine. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, they figured out if they can keep that guy on his feet, he's as good as any in the league right now. So once they figured out the offensive line a little bit, the defense started playing better towards the end of the year, and they just got hot. Like most things in sports, when a team gets hot, look out.
I know it was interesting because my brother was calling me out because I was banging on my chest all season with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were just straight smoking fools early in the season. And they did get hot at the right time, because I didn't see that. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't see it coming, but they struggled during the regular season, especially a large portion of it. So it was good to see them take that momentum and, I mean, be a road team three weeks in a row and really hand it to people.
Yeah, I think you're going to see in that division, I think the Bills are going to be tough, in the next few years. Josh Allen's a stud. Obviously, the Chiefs are right there. Who knows if the Dolphins are going to figure something out? And then obviously on the other side, you're going to have Tampa Bay, Green Bay. The Saints look like they got some serious cap issues coming into the year. They're going to have to let some people go. So it's going to be an interesting year. It's always NFL football is always the hardest to handicap anyway. It really is. I mean, you could go put $100 on every underdog every week in NFL football and probably come out ahead. It's just the hardest to handicap.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that when we were out to dinner, and I thought that was so crazy. And I've spoken to a bunch of gamblers, and they always talk about that. What is it? Is it just luck that's relevant, that statement, or what are your thoughts that betting on underdogs, at least in the NFL, seems to work more than not work?
There's just so much. Yeah, there's so much parity in the league. I mean, there's so much talent. And teams are getting closer and closer. And think about it. The worst team in the league gets the first pick. That's supposed to be the best guy coming out. So over the years, all that stuff evens out. I mean, I don't know if you remember 25 years ago or whatever, the Patriots, couldn't win 3 games all season, right? And then they have a great run. They get the right guys, whatever. So that's kind of the parity in the league. Unless you're a Cleveland Browns fan like myself, that system works.
Well,
Just not for them.
You don't believe in Baker, bro? You know I was yelling about him the whole time, bro. I'm a Browns believer.
You know what? I was really happy to see him go in and beat Pittsburgh. That was a great win. I think Pittsburgh is still hungover from that game. It's been months now. They've got talent. A couple plays here or there, and you never know. Maybe they're in the big game against the Chiefs. So I think they've got the pieces together. It would be nice for Mayfield to work out from a quarterback standpoint for that franchise, because they've gone through so many. And I think in the long run, it would just be good for the town and good for the team, obviously.
To throw my hat literally in the arena, it's amazing on how much quarterback talent came out of that draft with Lamar and Allen and Darnold. I mean, there's still reservations on Darnold, but even Baker in there. I mean, what a draft for quarterbacks. All those guys are playoff quarterbacks at this point. I don't know if the trend will keep trending in that direction, but pretty impressive.
Yeah, we'll see who's coming out. You got Lawrence. You got a couple other guys coming out. Everybody's really high on Lawrence. I personally don't see it, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope he has a great career. I don't see it.
So I know you're plugged into everything. I know you can't wait till your season's over so you can take a break. What is it that you've seen in his game specifically, or what's gotten to you? Because I kind of starting to feel like now everybody's like buying this guy, and I don't know, I'm getting kind of like that Peyton Manning feeling, not the Ryan Leaf feeling. I think he's gonna be good. I just don't know. I mean, the public is so excited to anoint. Damn, that's a tough word for me to say with my accent. But basically, bring in the next guy and say he's going to be great and amazing, right? And we got an 80-year-old guy crushing it. What is it that you see that might be some holes in his game?
I just look at guys who can throw into tight windows, and Joe Burrow had that coming out of LSU. And he, until he got hurt, he was having really good season with the Bengals, for a rookie especially. And I just don't see that in Lawrence. Again, who knows? The guy might have a great career, but I don't see those kind of throws. And I think some of his game is predicated on the fact that he can run a little bit, and he's not Lamar Jackson. And if he tries to run in the NFL, he's going to get smashed. So it's tough on guys. I mean, he's the best player coming out probably, and he's going to the worst team, obviously. And it's how you handle those first couple of years of losing when you've never lost, right? These are guys coming out that I think Lawrence has lost 1 or 2 games in his entire college career. So now he's going to have to get used to maybe going 8-8, right? 6-9 or 7-9. Sorry, who knows? So it'll be interesting to see how he handles that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really tough. I wanted to, pick your brain a little bit more. I mean, Jacksonville, bro. Like I'm a fantasy football guy, and they do have some players, but that's going to be tough, man. I mean, it might be easier if they get rid of Deshaun, and we'll see how Wentz works out. So he could be lucky, but I still think that they don't have a defense. And their offense is shaky. No offensive line, no real, household running back. Receivers are okay. I mean, a lot of B-, B+ guys on that team.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, if he can get through his first 2 years and his attitude is good and his confidence isn't completely gone, which is what these guys are all about, is their confidence, then I think he'll be fine. But he does have to work on a few things from throwing the ball, I think, to be a legitimate threat in the NFL.
I know we got all this panned out. We're going to jump all over a little bit, but I want to be a little bit more greedy because I know your knowledge is so comprehensive. Talking about Burrow and talking about Lawrence, what are your thoughts on Darnold? Because everybody's arguing, keep him, sell him, I don't know, make a piñata out of him. Everybody's all over the place. You probably watched him play more. My knock is like USC quarterbacks, huh? When was that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're kind of married to him, at least for another couple of years. I think he has the talent. I mean, he's shown that he can throw the ball in tight windows. He can make that over the shoulder throw. He can scramble a little bit when he needs to, right? Keep in mind, again, he's on the Jets. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like me saying you're on the Browns 10 years ago.
100%. They're the new Browns.
There's only so much one guy can do.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't care how good Brady is. If he can't stand up to throw the ball, he's not that good, right?
We've seen it happen.
You got to build an offensive line. Yeah, you got to build an offensive line, and you got to put a couple pieces around the guys for him to be successful. You saw Mahomes in that Super Bowl. He ran over 400 yards scrambling, right? Not positive yards, just running around trying to throw the ball because he had no offensive line. And I don't care how good you are, if you don't have a little bit of time to throw the ball, you're gonna fail. So we'll see what happens with him. I think he could work out, but he needs a little bit of help out there for sure.
So your opinion is the Jets, in your personal, they're not going to go after Watson?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, you got too much money tied up with right now. I don't see it happening. And honestly, for Watson, I think it's just a lateral move. I mean, if I'm Watson, I want to go to somebody that has a chance to contend, right? I don't want to go.
Right.
Why do I want to go play in New York where it's, it's a lateral move for him? So
right.
I don't see that happening.
It might be even lateral and down a little bit because, the personnel at the time, the Jets, they have huge player personnel issues. I would say that the Texas team of last season was better. I mean, we won, I think, 1 game, 2 games. It wasn't, I mean, we were battling for the first pick overall. So I wanted to ask you, because you brought up the Patriots and you brought up the Browns. And this, again, not on, but I know you're ready for all the good stuff. Is Belichick now going to be over the hill without Brady? Because everybody's taking shots at him now.
Well, I think from a player standpoint, he can bring guys in and develop guys. But if you're missing that big piece, which they are, you got to go get a quarterback. I mean, you saw it was pretty apparent that who was the guy they had? I can't think of it right now.
Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was pretty apparent that Cam Newton wasn't the guy. I mean, 4 or 5 games in, you knew that was a disaster. And he was going to run the ball. Right. He was going to throw 3-yard swing passes or a screen pass.
Right. Yes.
But they weren't going to let that guy throw a 20-yard out. It just wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So they had that season was kind of built around, listen, we're going to run the ball, play defense, try to get some turnovers and hope for the best. Right. And they won a few games, but they got to go get somebody, obviously, if they're going to have any kind of a shot in that division whatsoever.
I think when we were having that same dinner, we were talking a little bit about betting on baseball and how betting on baseball is heavily relied on pitching. Is now the NFL becoming like that, where the quarterback, without a quarterback, you to compete is going to be extremely difficult?
The big difference, I would say, is baseball is really a one-on-one sport until the ball's in play, right? It's a pitcher and the batter until the ball's hit in play. It's a one-on-one sport. Where football is, this guy's got to block this guy. He's got to run this route. There's a lot of moving parts. So you would think that you need a stud quarterback all the time, but you look back in history and there were studs that, in my opinion, that were not studs. Trent Dilfer.
That's the first one that comes to my mind, 100%.
Yeah, accurate passer, but he's not going to throw a 20-yard out, not going to scramble, but he could manage the game and he didn't make mistakes, but he had a ridiculous defense. Even Eli Manning, who had a ridiculous defense, did enough to not hurt his guys, right? Made a play here or there. So you can't get by with a barely above average quarterback you don't have to have a great quarterback, but you do have to have somebody that can manage the game, not make mistakes, throw a ball on time every once in a while. Look at Russell Wilson. I haven't seen that guy throw a ball on time in 5 years.
He's also
he runs around
for his life too.
But that's on him. He for whatever reason, he can't pull the trigger. He can't throw a ball on time. He's got to run around. Then he throws it downfield over the guy's shoulder. And somehow it works for them. It didn't really work this year, but a lot of times it does. But he can't throw a ball on time. I don't get it. Unless the routes are that bad or he just can't pull a trigger.
Yeah, that's interesting because Russ is definitely a complicated discussion and argument. I was going to throw Jeff Hostetler in there because that's a throwback for some of the millennials that don't even know. Seems like the Giants, if you have a good defense and you can run the ball, I mean, Bill Parcells was probably a genius at that. Manage the clock. We hold most of the time of the ball with the run game. We stuff you guys on defense, and all you got to do is not make mistakes to be a game manager. It seems now everybody's getting excited with the Patrick Mahomes and the Deshaun Watsons of the world that we want to see the dazzle of the East. 400 yards east and west and negative is definitely not good for you.
Yeah, and those guys have a ton of talent. God bless them. They make plays that other guys just can't make.
Yeah,
but again, like you saw in the Super Bowl, I mean, you can't just run around. Time's running out. So I think you're going to see a lot more teams defend the Chiefs the way Tampa Bay did too. They're going to take away the fastest guy on the field, which is what they did, and make somebody else beat them. You're not going to make a tight end's not going to beat you all day. I don't care how good Kelsey is. He's not going to beat you all day in every play.
I also think it's a little bit like basketball, right? Like during the regular season, guys give you the lane. During the regular season, guys don't really going to blow their mind about getting beat. But when you're in the playoffs, the level of competition and the level of defense is just ratchet up to a whole nother level that, Tyreek could be burning dudes all day. But now we're going to put triple coverage on you, and those are the three best guys we have on defense. It's going to be hard. And like you said, Kelsey's not going to be able to take every seam to the house.
Yeah, honestly, the NBA for me is unwatchable. It's so bad. I mean, I grew up with the NBA of Magic and Bird and Jordan and Worthy and like all the greats. And there's great players now. Don't get me wrong, but I watched a game the other night. The team was down 20 going into the fourth, and they won the game by 20. How's that possible? There's just no defense whatsoever. It's just a track meet is really what it is. Look at the All-Star game. It's a track meet.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think without hand checking and now Steph, introducing the long three, the game is so different now. It's just about fast break, chuck shots, fast break, chuck shots. And, if you keep chucking them, all you got to do is hit less than 40% or around 40%, and you can win the game. If you get a couple guys that hit 40%.
Yeah, they're running fast breaks off of makes, not off of misses. I mean, it's just a different game. I mean, and people love scoring, right? But I don't know. I'm just a little more old school where the games are not 125 to 127 or, you know what I mean? It's unbelievable. I was watching Houston, so sorry now, but Harden was playing
Brooklyn.
I think this was last year.
Okay.
It was Houston. And four times in a row, a guy came up the top of the key to guard him. He just went right around him for a layup, like 8 points. And I was like, no, like you never see that. No hard fouls, no nothing. You can foul a guy hard and not be dirty. You just can't give up layups all the time. It's almost like they're trying to make each other look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been watching that. I've been watching that a lot because I've just been watching a lot of basketball. I watch it usually on YouTube, and the games are usually so long that it's easy to watch a 15-minute game, and I can watch more. But I was watching the center for the Lakers. I don't even know if they have centers anymore. But he didn't even body the guy. Like literally these guys are just like running into each other with like just easy layup after easy layup after easy layup. So I could definitely understand that argument. It definitely looks like everybody's trying to showcase everybody else's talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not even trying to stop anybody. But we'll get back to the NBA in a second. I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you checked. I know I sent you some stuff. Mm-hmm. Are the Patriots? Is Tampa Bay a lock for next season to win the Super Bowl, or is it Chiefs automatically?
The Chiefs are the favorite. Tampa's right there, but the Chiefs are the favorite as of now.
What were some of the ones that you've seen, let's say top 5, top 10, that you were like, okay?
Buffalo was in there. Green Bay was in there. And again, these are all behind the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Chiefs number 1, right?
Chiefs are number 1. Those are the only ones. I don't think the Saints were really in play, as I recall. I mean, they're all plus money, but some of them are.
Mm-hmm.
higher their money plus is, the worse the odds are for they feel they have a chance. So they're just your usual teams, I guess you would say.
Right. That's why to me, I always argue with all my friends that there is no parity in the NFL. Maybe when it comes to betting during the regular season, but it's the same. It's the usual suspects every season because those same usual suspects have the great quarterbacks. Tell me, go ahead.
Yeah, but when it comes to wagering, it's you can win the game and not cover the spread.
Right, that's the difference. So, right, agreed. That's what I was saying. Right, but for me, like when you're talking about Vegas spreads, I get it. But when someone's telling me, "Oh, there's parity," I'm like, "No, there's no parity. The Jackson Jaguars are going to be terrible. The Jets are going to be terrible. To put you in the mix, the Browns are going to be terrible. Tennessee's going to be terrible. Like it's the same, even if they get the best players. I mean, I think one of the stories that doesn't get talked about enough. We were just saying New England used to suck 25 years ago. 40 years ago, Dallas wasn't that great either. But then they hit on a couple of first round picks and they got good. I mean, obviously that's their culture. But some of the teams that getting the first round picks are not winning in the NFL. I've seen a crazy.
Yeah, I think
stat.
A great example.
Go ahead.
Last year, the Falcons are not a very good team, obviously, and they covered the spread a ton of times, over and over and over and over. They just kept covering the spread, and they were losing the game, but they were covering. So, my clients don't care if who wins what, as long as they get to the window and they cash the check. So, I think that's where the parity comes in with the spreads, really, in every sport.
When you were talking about spreads, I looked it up because I never really, since I got an opportunity to hang out with you and talk to you, definitely now betting is just a little bit more interesting and how they do it and what they do it. What was the most interesting prop bet during the Super Bowl, or which one got the most notoriety?
I bet 3 myself. I bet
a safety. No,
I bet would they run back the initial kickoff, either run it back or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know that ball comes right out of a case. Nobody touches that ball. It gets set on a tee. They kick it, and then after that play's over, they put it in a box. That's it for that ball. So that ball has never been touched, so it's hard. The air's still all the way in it. So it's, even those guys are pumped up, it's tough for those guys to knock that 8 yards into the end zone. Usually they knock it 1 or 2 yards in. So, and the guy brought it out. So I won that prop bet. So that was good. I bet on what will happen first, a sack or a TD. I took the sack, that one. And I can't remember the third one, but it was, another weird one probably. Some people I know had Gronkowski at plus 1,500 to catch a touchdown, just for a few bucks. But so it just depends. I mean, there's, I'm sure you heard about the guy that was a streaker, bet on himself, and then ran across the field. I mean, there's
is that what he did? That's awesome. I didn't hear that. So tell me, he bet on a streaker hitting the floor?
No, he bet on if somebody would streak on the field during the Super Bowl. It was a prop bet. I don't know what the line was, but he placed a bet and then he went on the field and ran.
Good for him.
So yeah,
that's talking about creative, getting creative. I like that. That's pretty smart stuff. I was surprised he didn't get tackled. I was surprised he didn't get tackled.
That won't be a prop bet.
That's funny. Yeah, it won't happen again, I'm sure. Yeah, because people get so creative during COVID, huh? It's all that time at home.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, bigger event, Super Bowl or March Madness in Vegas? For betting, let's say. Not so much March Madness, right?
March Madness by far.
And it's because there's more games.
3 weeks.
Right, yes.
Yeah. 3 weeks. Conference championships are going on this week right now. And then you'll roll into the first day of NCAA tournament, which is Thursday. There's a couple of playing games on Tuesday, Wednesday next week, but the tournament actually starts the day after St. Patrick's Day next Thursday.
Is that normal, or that just is how it fell on this calendar, that it's always the after St. Patty's Day?
It's pretty close. It's always in the middle of March.
All right, cool. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I don't, it's hard. I mean, I can't even imagine So 32 teams or 32 on each side, so 64.
64, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Then a couple playing games, yeah.
All right. So do you know all 64 teams? Not like by heart, but like these colleges and their histories.
Yeah, they'll announce the selection on Sunday. Who's in, who's out.
They're still playing for
this
spots.
Sunday. Yeah, so you don't really know for sure. I mean, you have a pretty good idea who's in, who's not, but they're going to announce everybody this Sunday.
But it's also like the top 10, top 20 is the usual suspects, correct? For the most part.
Yeah, top 25 guys are pretty much going to get in. But you have a team like Duke who's not ranked for the first time in forever.
Yeah, that's a long time.
The only way they're going to they're going to have to win their ACC conference tournament to get in. So they won tonight, and they'll continue to move on. But that's the only way I see them getting in. And that'll be the first time they don't make it in, a very, very long time. So it'll be interesting.
Was that due to them not getting, the talent or just a bad luck of the draw?
I think it's more so that every year they have one or two guys that leave early that go to the NBA, so they recruit great players, but a lot of guys play 1 year or 2 years and they're gone. And you wonder how long you can do that until that catches up. And I think it's finally caught up with them this year. I think if a couple guys stay, they're going to be very, very strong next year. They're just very young right now.
So I had on Don Casey, shout out to him. He came on, former Clippers coach, former assistant head coach to the Celtics. And he argued, you were just talking about how awesome, 80s basketball was, 70s basketball was. Do you think that's part of it, that the one and dones hurt the NBA? Just to really, foreshadow that a little bit.
I think they hurt college more than anything. I mean, if I was these young guys, I think they have a better shot. If they want to leave college after a year to go play in Europe for a couple of years, get better, let your body, mature, learn the game more, and then come over to the NBA, I think you have a better chance at a good career. A lot of guys that leave after 1 or 2 years, they just don't pan out. So it just depends.
Yeah, no, that's definitely always an interesting argument for me, just because I feel like, Jordan played. I don't know I think he graduated, and Ewing and all these other guys, they played for a long time, so you kind of get more of a polished product heading into the NBA. But that's interesting too, because now you're constantly rebuilding as a head coach in college, which has got to be tough.
Yeah, unless your name is Duke or Kentucky or
or Kansas,
some of the big schools,
right?
Yeah, they have 5 or 6 McDonald's All-Americans sitting on the bench all the time, But again, it does catch up with you. And now with this year with COVID, I mean, they're playing a lot less games. Games are canceled every week. It's tough to get in a rhythm, really. So it's been an odd year for sports for sure.
100%. It's been almost wacky. I wanted to ask you, because you're so close to the radar, and it's my backyard. How's San Diego State doing? Because they, for whatever reason, have a decent basketball club, and you would never think of that. Are they going to be in the tournament this season or no?
Yeah, they'll be in there. They had a pretty good year. And last year they had a phenomenal year, and just unlucky everything got shut down. But yeah, they'll be in there. I can see them making some waves. There's going to be some small schools that you haven't really heard of, like Loyola of Chicago, that has I think they're 24-3 or somewhere in that range. They got a good squad. They play together really well. They'll make a little bit of a run. They'll definitely knock off somebody that, like a North Carolina or something like that, that's not expecting them. They can definitely make a run. There's going to be a couple of small schools this year that are going to get in the Sweet 16, I'm pretty sure.
Speaking of small schools, UNLV, how they doing? Are they going to be in the tournament? Did I say that right? I hope I say that right. No, not good.
Yeah, no. They won tonight. I shouldn't say that. They could win. They could win their conference championship and get in. They beat up on Air Force tonight by 28 or 30 points, I think. But I don't foresee them getting in the tournament now, unless they win their conference championship.
So I always hear the term straight chalk, and that means that you pick favorites, correct? Or like the top or best teams, right?
Yeah.
How often going chalk works out?
In what sport?
In the
general?
in the NCAA when you're filling out this bracket, because like that thing is I would always like to do it, but it's so confusing, and that's what I was trying to get to. Knowing all of these different schools is a lot. 64 universities. Like that, I'm good with 32 teams. You're gonna add another 32 on top of it. I mean, I don't even know what 3 times 32 is, but I'm already like 64 plus with the NBA, the NFL and the MLB. I don't need another 64 teams of colleges.
Yeah, and I think that's why, isn't it Warren Buffett that says if you could do a perfect NCAA bracket, he gives you $1 million?
Yes, I don't think nobody's ever done one, right? To my knowledge.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very hard.
The odds are, yeah. Again, it's. I mean, I know them, but does the average guy know them?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah, there's so many.
But that's, yeah. But I deal with where you get the best when it comes to handicapping. Where you get the best bang for your buck is knowing the smaller schools, because the lines, in my opinion, are not as tight as they are with the big schools. When you have a Duke, North Carolina, that line's going to be pretty much right on where the game's going to fall. Whereas you had 2 smaller schools, there's a little wiggle room in there where you can take advantage, if that makes sense. So if players can play those smaller games, then I like to use those.
What's because I've never even looked at a college spread. What's a normal spread? 10 points, or that's too much in basketball?
It just depends. I mean, it could be Penn State's tipping off here in a little bit against Nebraska, and I believe the line's 6.5.
So that's more fair.
North Carolina, Notre Dame are about to tip off. That's 7 points. Last night, BYU was playing Gonzaga. BYU was getting 14 points. So it just depends on, I've seen them at 22 points.
Right. That's what I would have thought would be more the household spread, because college is just crazy because they play a lot of unranked teams, right, in their schedule.
Well,
I'm talking about like the good schools versus the bad schools.
I tell you how college is. You have some teams that have men on them, and they play against other teams that have boys, and they just beat the crap out of them.
Got it. That makes sense.
And that's, yeah. So when you see a 20-point spread, there's a reason why it's 20 points.
If you see a 20-point spread, should you jump all over that as a novice bettor? Let's say no.
So last night the BYU Gonzaga game was 14. I had clients on BYU, and Gonzaga won the game late. They won by 8, I think. So my clients are happy. That could have been an outright winner, really. I mean, BYU was actually leading by 13 points at the half. So it just depends. Gonzaga hasn't lost a game all year.
Really? They're undefeated.
They're undefeated. It looked like a good time for them to maybe lose. Plus, they were giving 14 points. So I had my clients on that. So they were pretty happy with that win.
Putting your thinking cap on, is that because that's got to be a lot of pressure, especially for young men. Is Gonzaga, you think, going to go far in the tournament, being that they're undefeated?
I mean, the unique thing about Gonzaga is they have several guys that can score, which is kind of rare in college. Usually in college, you have 1 or 2 guys that, let's say, are the studs on the team, right? They do most of the scoring. The rest of the guys kind of pick it up here, a little there. Gonzaga has 3 or 4 guys that can all shoot. Baylor is a very tough team. They've only lost 1.
Wow. Again,
there's a few teams out there that are it's gonna be interesting.
We just mentioned UNLV and COVID a second ago. Are there going to be any games played in Vegas? Because you guys usually have a couple tournaments there.
They're playing right now. They played Fresno and New Mexico are playing right now at UNLV tonight. So I think they actually tipped off about an hour ago. So they're probably almost done. They're having a couple games. I don't think they're letting.
Right, I'm sure no fans. But why is it usually that they put is it a weather thing?
No, it's just, they move that conference championship around every year. So it just depends. Like I believe the ACC one's in North Carolina, so they're playing at UNC's home court. Just depends. They move it around.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah, no, because I always see all the time, usually during tournament time, that there's teams playing. But pre-COVID, yeah, a lot. I mean, that's usually the backdrop, and it makes sense for maybe some of these colder teams to play on the West Coast. To keep guys loose and I don't know. I mean, basketball is played indoors, so I don't know how much weather has a factor on these guys' bodies or the sports science.
Yeah,
to
no,
it.
they don't. Nah, they don't care. Other than they get a free trip to Vegas, probably. That's about it.
So you would tell it.
Right.
What's up?
Which is never a bad deal, right?
No, not at all. I mean, until COVID, you guys had like almost everything headed over there. All these conferences, or games. Now you guys, hopefully one day they decide to let the public in to watch the Raiders. But I mean, there's a lot of reasons to go to Vegas, right?
Yeah, I went to a Knights game 2 weeks ago. They're starting to let people back at the house. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much. We stayed in that place that was right in front of our location. So was it quarter capacity? What was the amount that they let in?
I believe it was 2,300 people. So
Man,
not
that's
that
a
many.
little bit. Wow.
Yeah.
So it was it
But
the who's?
Yeah, pretty much. It was, the guys you see on the billboards all around town, that kind of stuff. But again, I think by middle of April, they'll be up to, probably half capacity and, continue from there.
And it was like everybody got to wear masks the whole time, right?
Yeah, if you weren't eating or drinking,
Right.
they wanted you to have it on.
Gotcha. Okay.
They weren't crazy about it, but yeah, they preferred it.
It wasn't like the musician that got kicked out. Got kicked out of the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl was, not Super Bowl. I forget. Was it the Super Bowl? No, I think it was at another game. Someone got kicked. An artist got kicked out for not wearing his mask. But that's for another story. I wanted to ask a question, but now that you brought up the NHL, does the NHL, are there heavy people that bet on NHL in Vegas, or not really?
Yeah, I mean, where I work, we've got clients all over the country, up through Canada as well. So trust me, they bet on anything. They'll bet on an old lady trying to get across the street. They don't,
Gotcha.
So
Right, it's like a
if
hobby.
it's sports related,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. If it's sports related, they will wager on it for sure.
So are we a third in the way of the season on the NHL season?
It goes pretty late. It's going to go into June.
Okay.
So
Right. So we're only like a quarter,
season.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. First half of it for sure. Yeah.
Who's leading the charge on that front? Who's like the top teams in the NHL?
The Vegas Knights are right up there.
Good. That's awesome.
They've got a good squad. Yeah, and it's actually a great venue.
I know. I want to go so badly. I was rooting for them. That's such a cool story for an expansion team to have gotten so close and done so many things. And, I think it's awesome. What a great story. You don't even think about hockey in Vegas. That's so dope.
Yeah, if you get a chance, YouTube the opening of their game.
I have. It's amazing. That show is unbelievable. That show is unbelievable.
Yeah. And only in Vegas do they have pretty girls come out and clean the ice between the timeouts, and they come out with the shovels, and only in Vegas, of course. So.
That's awesome. I was surprised they don't have like tigers and shit and fire. I know they have fire.
Yeah.
The pyrotechnics.
Yeah. Yeah, not with the ice. Yeah.
I love it. Vegas, man, so funny. I just got back from New York, and New York is definitely not what it used to be. Obviously, a lot of places aren't, but man, nobody turns it up like Vegas. You guys really take partying to the next level.
Yeah, it's like I said, any time during the day, if you want to find something to do, there is something to do for sure. For sure.
So if NFL is one of the more difficult, industries or sports to handicap, what moves the needle in second place? Is it the NBA? In the sense of betting?
I think right now college basketball.
Okay.
Because there's just so many games every single day. On a weekend, there'll be 30, 40 games.
Wow.
So it's, college basketball for sure.
So you could probably say
college
the same.
football.
I was just going to say, you could say the same for college football because there's like hundreds of games on the weekends.
Yeah. The one thing I dislike about my job is getting up at 6:00 in the fall to, handicap college football on a Saturday because, they go off at 9 a.m. So
I know that's the only thing that sucks about being on the West Coast, that we got to get up a little bit earlier for some of those games. Because same thing for the NFL. I mean, back home it's like 1 o'clock kickoff, and here it's 10 a.m. So if you're nursing the hangover, you gotta be fucking getting up and being like, shit, half asleep.
You better handicap the night before. Yeah, it's that's the worst feeling in the world. You don't want to do that.
No, hell no.
I learned my lesson with.
Tell me about it. That shit is brutal, bro.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. So we were talking a little bit at that same dinner. I brought up. I put in the stuff for us to chop it up a little bit with Tim Donaghy, right? That's not happening anymore, right? To our knowledge.
No, I don't think you're going to see that. There's companies in place now that really, if you see something that looks out of place in any kind of professional game, even college, really, there's a company called Integrity that looks at all that stuff really, really closely. So, no, I mean, you're definitely not going to see it in the NBA because nobody plays defense. So how are you going to call a foul? So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, that's true. No, I mean, bringing it back to the NFL. What did you think about that call? Was that call shady? The Browns KC game where that guy went to the corner of the end zone and they call it back. I forget what the call was, but it seemed like shenanigans because that guy was in.
Yeah, when it goes to the monitor, who knows? You know what I mean? I feel like they call every catch or bobble. I feel like they call it different in every game. So
right, that's crazy.
Everybody knows the rule, but it seems like they interpret it the same rule differently every other Sunday. So yeah,
I wonder how much money that cost. Remember when Megatron basically stood up on the ball and let it go? I don't know if you remember that. That was a few years back, and it was supposed to be a touchdown, and it got called back because they said he didn't have possession, which is like, all he has to do is break the plane. You guys are confusing me. I don't understand this breaking the plane concept. If you break the plane, it's still not a touchdown.
Yeah, neither do the players, I don't think, either. It's odd. Nobody has really any idea. But I've seen some, there's a show, I think on ESPN, they do it called Bad Beats, where you just see like the worst officiating. Teams up by 25. Yeah. And some team scores a touchdown with no time left to crush the spread. And, so I've seen every single thing you can possibly see.
Yeah, no, that's the worst, bro. That's heartbreaking. When it does all that stuff, especially when there's money on the line. I mean, that's the thing, that I just finished watching the movie Any Given Sunday, and you watch Al Pacino talking about the zebras. They really have a lot of, at least during the end, a huge impact on sometimes the outcome of the game.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I mean that's part of the game. I mean, you got to have those guys in there, and for the most part, they do a really great job. So, that's just part of the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I guess it is. I don't know if you're familiar, but those guys got to get fined if they don't get it right? Or there's got to be some kind of like disciplinary in place to kind of handle them screwing things up. Because I remember Ed Hockey got fucked something up once, and he got into some trouble.
Yeah, they don't get, if you've got some make some mistakes, you just don't get the big games. You won't get a playoff game, you won't get the Super Bowl. So those guys all year are trying to get those games. So they're trying to do their very best, obviously. Otherwise, they're not going to get, they're not going to get to the big show. So.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's definitely very, very interesting. I mean, the first thing I think about when you talk about not knowing the rules is when Donovan McNabb didn't know the rules of overtime. I'm like, bro, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Let's switch gears really quickly because I wanted to ask you too, since we were talking about the NFL and the rankings on that. Are the Dodgers the overall number one slam dunk on baseball for the odds to win the series, or no?
I haven't looked at that odds in the last week or so, but they're up there. I tell you who's making a move is the Padres are loading up, really.
Yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on that because, man, that's insane. Tatis signs that mega deal They already have Machado there. They have Hosmer. Cronenworth is Rookie of the Year. Their pitching seems to be healthier. I mean, you could argue that they have one of the best infields in the league. And then they go sign, excuse the pun, but a big fish from Tampa. They're definitely moving the needle.
Yeah. And it's definitely a pitcher's park. It's not easy to hit the ball out of there with the wind blowing in. I mean, you've been to many games. You know how it is. Especially at night when the cold marine layer rolls in.
I was just going to say, fucking sea level, baby. Sea level's a mofo trying to hit it out of that place.
Yeah, so they could make some noise for sure, but obviously, you got the Dodgers right there too. So it's going to be interesting baseball season. I think you're going to see from a fan standpoint more and more people in the stands, obviously. I think by the end of May, I would say there's going to be 50% plus capacity back in the stands, which would be great to see because, in my opinion, baseball is already boring enough to watch on TV. If you're not going to a game,
it's not the same.
It's a tough game to watch. So hopefully from a fan standpoint, you can get back in the stands and catch a game. And I think it's a great environment.
Yeah, no, I know the missus is going to be excited because, San Diego, there's going to probably be, if they're at half capacity to get a ticket for their game, the ticket price is going to soar. Because I know you were here for a little bit and they were giving away tickets there. Like for such a great stadium and a venue, you could get dugout seats for $100, bro. And that's going to like the ticketer. That's not even buying it like on the secondary market.
Yeah. Well, when you put a terrible team on the field, that's what you're going to get. You know what I mean? When you put a terrible product out there, you're going to get cheap seats. So yeah, but I'll be back. I'm coming back next month, I think, to play some golf. So we might have to catch a game or something.
Please let me know. I don't know if you, I like golf, bro. Please invite me if you're okay with me being absolutely horrible. I need to get into my golf game. It seems like the power plays is knowing about golf.
Yeah, when I go back to play golf in San Diego, it's a Del Mar Country Club for a lot of money. So
don't worry about that. I got you. Golf. I could cover that. I got it. At least I could cover my ends. I got a cigar waiting for you. Don't worry about it, bro. We got Monte Cristo. Whatever. We'll get some Monte Cristos. We'll get it turned up for sure, buddy. I'm not even worried about that. But the performance part on my behalf is probably going to be horrible. I'll just hang around you guys.
As long as you can drive a cart and drink beer, I think that's all that matters.
Oh, see, look, I could do that. Bro. I could definitely handle that. So you got Dodgers and you said Padres are starting to creep up. How about New York, Atlanta, DC? Any of those teams starting to make noise or not really still?
I think they're all trailing the Dodgers at the end of the day.
Got you.
I'm a Cubs fan. I would love the Cubs to do something. We'll see. I feel it looks like they're kind of rebuilding a little bit themselves. They won that one championship and I guess that was enough for them. So we'll see. But I think everybody at the end of the day is kind of trailing the Dodgers and they just have so much talent out there. See what happens.
Speaking of the Cubbies, do you think Chris Bryant has plateaued?
He's a Vegas guy, as I recall. I don't want to say any athlete's plateaued, especially in baseball when it seems like you can play forever.
Right.
I mean, as long as you take care of yourself, there's no physical contact. You know what I mean? It's a lot of games, but any sport that you can, chew tobacco in the dugout and sunflower seeds, you're not doing a lot of running, right? Let's face it. So, yeah.
I mean, I was just so high on him. No, I thought he had like all the tools. You know what I mean? The guy is sharp as a whistle, good looking, great stick, good outfielder. I mean, plays his position well. It's not like I just seen more. I thought he was going to give more. I mean, he looks like he's getting overshadowed by Javi over there.
You never know. I mean, sometimes an athlete just needs a change of environment. Maybe he's you see a lot of guys that play well somewhere for a few years and then have a couple of bad years. They get transferred, somewhere else and it rejuvenates their career. So you never know. Maybe he just needs a change of environment. That's
what I thought. If I was him, I would be getting out of Chicago. For whatever the reason, it's not working there. I mean, there's so many teams now. I mean, I don't know who's going to give him the money, but the Yankees are always willing to pay people, even though they've actually shied away from that system a little bit in recent years. But the Dodgers are going to pay. You get up to San Francisco, so it'd be interesting. But I thought he was really sharp, and they were going to. I was with you. I thought they were going to at least get 2 out of that run.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just were so ecstatic to get 1 that they're like, all right, we're good for 100 more years, and we'll let you guys know. But it was great to see him get that 1, though. Funny story. 2016, I believe it is. I fly into Chicago with some buddies out of Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching Dodgers Cubs, and I'm 3 rows behind Magic Johnson.
Wow.
Right. And which I never realized he's a big guy. I mean, he's 6'9", 6'10". He's a big guy. Anyway, I shot him a beer. I said, it was a Budweiser. I go, I gotta get the king of beers. So I sent him a beer and he goes, thank you, but I don't drink. So I had to drink it for him, but super nice guy, just down to earth. Cubs win in the bottom of the 9th of the Grand Slam. I mean, just iconic day, just a great day.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's one of the parks that I want to go to, man. Wrigley's awesome. I definitely want to hit up Chicago. I've been watching a couple of movies. I just watched The Fugitive on the plane back from New York, and it had all of that great downtown Chicago nostalgia. And then watching The Dark Knight, which is shot a lot in Chicago, and even Batman Begins with all of the bridges. There's a lot of Chicago stuff, especially being from a city boy. I've always wanted to get up there. It would be great if they got back on the radar. I mean, like I said, to wait 100 years, it seems like a lot for sure, to get that monkey off your back. So, I mean, hopefully, every year is a different season, so you never know. I wanted to ask you, what did you think about the transition to making the National and the American League have a DH? Do you think that this rule should stay?
I'm a little torn, obviously. I'm not really sure what to make, but I think time will tell. Is it going to play out? How does it benefit? I've always been for, if you're going to hit, you're going to play in the field. That's how I've always felt, right? I mean, it's great to DH. We just hang out in the dugout and all I do is hit. Yeah, I'm a hitter. What are you going to do today? I'm going to hit. That's it.
That's all I'm here for, baby. 20 million.
Yeah.
20 million. I go 4 times. That's it.
What a gig, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm a hitter. All I do is hit.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I'm with you a little bit because I found that fascinating leaving the American League as a Yankee fan and watching Padre baseball, and I thought it was fascinating. It actually changes the dynamic and how the coaches have to coach the game when you have the pitcher up and you got men on base and maybe you're doing a squeeze or something like that. But I feel like it's also helped teams that are not that good in the sense, because how am I paying you as a pitcher $25 million and you can't run to first base? That's where I'm at. Like, if you run to first base, you might break your leg.
Pitchers are an odd breed, man. I knew some pitchers in college and they're an odd breed. I mean, they can throw the ball 90 plus miles an hour, but yeah, you ask them to tie their shoelaces and it's a struggle, so.
You're supposed to be an athlete. I don't get it. Right? Athlete means you usually run.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching, I was an Indians fan a long, long time ago. You remember Manny Ramirez, right?
Of course. Legend.
Yeah. Right. Manny Ramirez he's playing right field as I recall.
Uh-huh.
He goes back to catch the ball up against the warning track, and the ball hit him in the foot. I mean, he just completely missed the ball. And I'm thinking to myself, if this guy couldn't hit a baseball, what would he be doing? He's a hitter. That's how he got paid. He's a hitter. I mean, he's not diving for any balls. Is he an athlete? I guess. I mean, he can hit a baseball. So he made a lot of money.
You know who's my new version of that? Your boy from Vegas, not your specific boy, but he's from Vegas. Bryce Harper. I love Bryce. I think he's a dynamic hitter, but he could give 2 shits about if a ball goes in the outfield. It'll hit the wall. He'll roll up to it real slow. He'll pick it up. He'll throw it back to somebody and be like, "Whatever, bro. I'm a hitter."
They're not spraining ankles diving for the pick.
No.
He gets paid to hit.
And that's why I think if that's the case, then the DH makes sense, right? Like it also, listen, baseball is already having a problem with viewership. Let's put points up. Let's fucking make it 10-15 baseball, the score. And just let everybody hit. I think, like I said, the Padres are one of those teams. The Padres struggled when they were in their 8th and 9th hole, and the pitcher came up, and there was runners in scoring position with two outs. That was an out. It was over. If the pitcher came up, it's done. Go sit down, son. Now they're dynamic. Now they have someone that can hit in the 9th hole, and that gives the opportunity to bring up the top of the lineup. So,
and obviously teams see that and they'll walk a guy to get to the pitcher. I mean, they know they're not gonna. Why take the chance when you got a guy that's had 3 base hits and 40 at bats? You're gonna obviously play the percentages. So we'll see what happens. I mean,
and it's insane that like only 3 pitchers in the last 20 years have like an over 200 batting average. Like 3. That's it. Everyone else is a K. That's it. Go sit down. Thanks for coming. You can't run to first base and you can't hit a baseball. Thank God you could throw it.
If they really want to fix baseball, in my opinion, is you don't need to rake the dirt every 3rd inning. You know what I mean? It's not necessary. You don't need to waste 20 minutes doing that. I mean, it's the only. I know it's I guess tradition, but we sing a song after the 7th. We sing a song.
Yeah.
That's 15 minutes. I mean, there's little things. You need to speed up the game. I mean, it's already 9 innings, right?
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen when they put the pitcher clock in there, but that didn't seem to do anything.
No, because now they'll have another meeting, or the guy will step on the mound, or kick the dirt, or I mean, it's ridiculous. It just takes way too long. Yeah,
baseball's got to get their shit together. I have a
tell you what,
tell me.
The new generation doesn't want to watch that.
No, they don't care.
You can't get them to go play 18 holes of golf.
Right.
When they're actually doing something physical. They're sure shit not going to sit in a seat for 3.5 hours and watch some guy kick dirt around.
Bro, they're not even going to play the front 9 or the back 9. Forget about fucking 18 holes, and then you're going to try to put a kid in for a Boston Yankee game for 3.5 hours. The only reason that game works is because it's either in New York or in Boston. Now tell some kid in San Diego or Los Angeles that probably has a beautiful girl or whatever and is going to go kayaking or surfing or whatever else. Hey, hang out here for 4 hours while we watch a Dodger San Diego game.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, no, that's it's insane. I wanted to ask you again too. So I don't know what the rumors in LV are, but Pete is not getting into the Hall of Fame, at least while he's alive, right?
I think he should be.
Right?
I mean, why not? I mean, you're letting these other guys in that did, in my opinion, way worse.
100%.
What Pete Rose did,
Right.
But for whatever reason, they've just blackballed that poor guy. I don't get it. Maybe when he's dead, maybe if you get a commissioner in there that thinks a little differently, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you were talking about it slowing down or the games being too long to watch. Something's got to happen in baseball, whether it's getting a commissioner that's younger and more interested. I mean, I definitely like the NBA commissioner, because getting a younger commissioner in there, because I know that at least the NBA commissioner is progressive enough to say, hey, gambling is good for the sport. Gambling is great for all sports. Like, it brings eyeballs. I mean, fantasy sports has definitely elevated the NFL, has elevated the NBA. It's elevated all of these other games. So, yeah, no, I feel bad for Mr. Rose and not being able. I mean, poor guy sitting outside of Cooperstown signing baseballs. I mean, they're doing my man so dirty. Look
at all the states have now legalized gambling. Now you can go and place a bet in the sports books at a lot of states. So, I mean, they're seeing the revenue, right? They're seeing the tax dollars, and that's the same thing with marijuana. I mean, they're looking at the tax dollars, and now they want in. So
I know. I always said if I became president of the United States, I would legalize nationally marijuana, I would legalize prostitution, and I would legalize sports gambling. Because
You're so progressive.
I mean, the tax dollars that you get off of that revenue is just unbelievable. I mean, degenerates are going to be degenerates no matter what.
Yeah.
At least we can help some people and make it a little bit, easier. I mean, I think that California and Colorado and Oregon have seen the influx of the weed money. I mean, I was tripping out when I was in New York. DraftKings and all these other guys, you can literally bet on anything. You can't do that here yet, but in New York you could. I was watching Brooklyn, Nets games, and every 5 seconds it was another commercial for DraftKings, another commercial for FanDuel. So at least some of the states are getting it.
Yeah, and they're making a killing too.
I could only imagine. So really quickly, before I let you get out, Vegas now has a football team. Obviously, that's great for the sport. You got the Knights, now you got the Raiders.
Yeah.
Is Derek Carr the answer, or should they start shopping?
I think he's probably got another 1 or 2 years, and then they will start shopping. I work a half mile on the same road down the street from the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So really looking forward to that. We've got some season tickets, so that's going to be a good time, obviously, in the fall. But I think he's got 1 or 2 more years, and then I think they're not going to have a choice.
So they're not going to. You don't think they pull a trigger on somebody, on a Deshaun Watson, on a Russell Wilson, on any of these guys that are out there?
No, not yet, not yet. But if he has another average year or below average year, then I think they start pulling the trigger right away. Vegas wants, the city wants. They're in love with the Raiders, and they've never seen a game. I mean, a lot, right? And Vegas is going to want winners. So he's probably got 1 more year, and then he's going to have to go from there.
Did you was it more than $2 billion for that stadium?
I'm not really sure exactly what it was. It was a lot.
No, it wasn't Elegant, right? That's the name of the stadium? Allegiant. And that's what company is that?
I don't even know what they do, honestly. Right? I have no idea what they do.
Oh my God. What a trip.
They do. Yeah, they just have a giant name. I have no idea what they do.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about it either.
They did spend a ton of money for sure.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, it looks great. You said you have not been inside yet, right? When you bought the season tickets, that they walk you guys around the facility to show you where your seats were?
I wasn't there when we picked up the stuff, but no, we haven't been inside yet or anything like that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Jimmy, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you chopping it up with me. I want to get you, on a little bit more. Hopefully, a lot of people are interested on what your picks are for the NCAA tournament. Did you want to give a shout out to anything or anything like that, or you're all good to go?
Just they can go to vegascovers.com. Pretty simple, and call in or ask for me, or you can buy picks right online right there, whatever works for them. And man, give the family my best, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And we got to definitely, we'll be headed out there sooner rather than later. I'm hoping with COVID, opening up some stuff, we can come and hang out with you and party a little bit more. Make sure you get all your naps, so we can burn it down.
Before you get down for sure. Yeah, 2 naps.
All right, Jim. Thanks again, buddy. Have a good night, man.
Take care.
Okay.